Hello and welcome to episode number 51 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeartRadio. My name is Esports and Gaming Insider Jason Fanelli, and I am here to bring you the latest and greatest in what is a busy time for both esports and video games in general. We have a lot going on in both realms. We have tournaments happening this weekend. We have a big tournament end over the weekend. We have EVO has finally given its details for EVO 2021. We're going to dig into that at the end of the show. E3's schedule is out. We're going to dig into that too. Plus, Fusion have 2 more matches to turn it around in the June Joust. We'll definitely get into that. But before we do anything else, let's get right in to the 6 in 60 seconds. Valorant Masters Stage 2 final in Reykjavik, Iceland was won by Sentinels, who did not lose a single map in the entire tournament. Valorant Mobile was also announced by Riot a couple days after to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the game. The Sentinels also, following their win, acquired 10Z, one of their key players, full-time in a 7-figure contract buyout from Cloud9. Also, Riot has revealed plans for a return of players and camera crews to the League Championship Series studios in Los Angeles, but fans will still not be allowed in as of yet. Elsewhere, God of War's follow-up has been delayed to 2022, with Horizon Forbidden West still on track for 2021. Also, both God of War and Gran Turismo 7 have been confirmed for the PlayStation 4 as well as the PS5. The full E3 schedule has been revealed, with presentations from Capcom, Take-Two, Square Enix, and more joining Xbox and Nintendo from June 12th to the 15th. And finally, SNK has delayed the King of Fighters 15 to 2022 due to Japan's ongoing COVID-19 pandemic issues. Those are your 6 in 60 seconds. Yes, and the 6 in 60 seconds is brought to you, as always, by the sponsor of Cheesesteaks and Controllers, Ghost Shaver. The Ghost Shaver is designed to feel like it's an extension of your arm, allowing any user to reach anywhere on the head, face, or body. The precision cutting system gives a close and smooth shave every single time, thanks to 5 different rotary flex action blades and a patented handheld design that fits into the palm of your hand for a firm and controlled grip. Go to GhostShaver.com to check it out and get yours. Ghost Shaver, a shave above the rest. Yes, folks, and here we go. Episode 51 of Cheesesteaks and Controllers, starting off with the Overwatch League. What else is new, right? If we're going to talk about anything, it's got to be the Overwatch League, because the Fusion have 2 matches this week. In fact, if you are listening to this when the podcast goes live at 9 a.m., unfortunately, you already missed one. As this is week 3 of the June Joust qualifiers, the schedule is a little bit different than it is on normal weeks. Instead of starting Friday and going Saturday, Sunday, these matches for this week started on Thursday. So as I'm recording this, I have already missed 2 matches. Paris beat Boston 3-2, and Dallas took out Florida 3-2 as well. So Friday's matches for Week 3 start with your Philadelphia Fusion against the Guangzhou Charge, and the Chengdu Hunters versus the Seoul Dynasty after that. And the LA Valiant are taking on the Hangzhou Spark Friday at 8 a.m. So 3 matches happening on Friday in the Western region, which is a very notable thing for one reason. This is considered the Hangzhou home series, and they will be playing live matches in a venue in Hangzhou, China. For the first time since the pandemic began, there will be live Overwatch League matches happening on the broadcast for anyone to watch. The Hangzhou Future Sci-Tech City Academic Exchange Center, that is a mouthful, will be hosting all of the matches throughout the weekend in the Western and Eastern region. So Guangzhou, Philadelphia, Chengdu, Seoul, and LA Valiant on Friday. 3 more matches on Saturday, and then the rest of the qualifiers on Sunday. So, live Overwatch League with crowds. That is something I did not expect to see for the entire year, but it looks like the Overwatch League is going to use this as a litmus test, see how it goes moving forward, and maybe we'll have more live events happening throughout the year with crowds in attendance. Man, that would be great if we could get crowds back for Overwatch League matches. Maybe, I don't know about this year because we're in the Eastern region playing in Asia, but man, if they wanted to bring some home matches to the city of Philadelphia, I would be right dead center in the middle of that. So let's get into the two matches for your Philadelphia Fusion this week. Guangzhou Charge on Friday, LA Valiant on Saturday, and to be completely honest with you, they should not have any trouble with either of these teams. They are both in the bottom of the Eastern region. Guangzhou is a little bit better than LA Valiant, but still, the Fusion are a much better team than both of them. And even though they showed a poor showing back in week 1, the June Joust losing 3-1 to both Chengdu and was it Seoul? I don't even remember who they lost to. I tried to block it out of my memory because I try not to dwell on it too much. But going 3-1, losing 3-1 to both teams, going 0-3 in control maps, really having a poor showing. Some people want to blame the hero pools. I want to blame just not being ready to play somehow. They have to come out strong, and they have to do it immediately in this first match at 5 a.m. Friday morning. So hopefully, as you're listening to this and looking up the Philadelphia Fusion results, you see a win in that win, a number in that win column, a 3 next to the Fusion on the results page. If you're listening on the radio on Saturday, you're going to hope that you see 2 Philadelphia Fusion wins on the two wins on the Philadelphia Fusion schedule, 3 on next to Philadelphia for both Friday and Saturday. And honestly, if we don't see one on Saturday, I'm putting the team in crisis mode. Guangzhou, who knows? They're very streaky. I don't expect to lose to them, but anything is possible in that one. We need to beat the LA Valiant. The LA Valiant are considered the basement of the Overwatch League, not very good, with players that are just not gelling well in the early going of the season. We should not be losing to the Los Angeles Valiant. This team is too good. After all the impressive showings they put on in the May Melee, there is no reason why we should be even thinking about 0-4, and yet here we are. So Guangzhou and LA Valiant stand in our way, and I will be damned if they go 0-2 this weekend and finish 0-4. That will be the most shocking thing ever if this team goes 0-4 in this June Joust. I would be completely flabbergasted. First to worst, it would just blow my mind. I cannot stress enough how absolutely absurd that would be. So what the Fusion need to do is they need to find new heroes and fast. They need to work on their control. I hope they scrimmed a lot of control maps leading up to this first match tomorrow morning, Friday morning, because if they didn't, they're just going to get wiped in control once again. I don't know why it became their Achilles heel, but I can never trust this team in a control map again, at least not for the time being. So if they got control down and they pick some new heroes to be familiar with while these pools are going on, I think they'll be okay. I'm expecting 2 wins this week. Definitely 1, hopefully 2, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on, and hopefully we can celebrate our Fusion next week, making the June Joust tournament as a bit of a upset special. That would be great. So let's move on to the whole week. Let's look at these matches and see what's going on here. So Paris already beat Boston. Dallas already beat Florida. Obviously not going to predict those. That would be pretty mean. Philadelphia over Guangzhou needs to be that way. Need it to happen. Please, need to come back on the good foot. I would like to wake up to a Fusion win if that's possible. Chengdu and Seoul, this is a hard one to call. Both these teams are pretty even, and they both are pretty streaky as well. DM retiring is not great. I believe he played for the Seoul Dynasty, so they're losing a big-time player there. I am going to go with Chengdu here. I'm just leaning slightly towards Chengdu in this match. But it really is a coin flip. It could go either way. I don't know who to pick in this particular matchup. And then the 8 a.m. matchup is LA versus Hangzhou. Hangzhou's going to roll LA because A, LA is not good, as I mentioned, but B, it's their home series, and they're playing in front of home fans for the first time, and they're just going to roll over them. I do not see any possible way that LA beats Hangzhou. They might not even take a map from Hangzhou playing in front of their fans like that. Very, very much expecting a Hangzhou roll in that. So Friday's Western matchups, we have Boston and LA. LA Gladiators, I think, are going to take that one. Boston has shown some life in the June Joust so far, but they came back down to earth after that first weekend. I do expect LA to close the deal there. A rematch of the 2019 Overwatch League Grand Finals is next with San Francisco Shock playing Vancouver Titans. I expect the result to be very much the same at San Francisco Shock to walk away there. Then we have Florida and Washington, two teams that started out strong but seem to have stumbled a little bit. I think Florida has stumbled less, so I will choose them to take it over the Justice. Justice, I still think, is a very good team. This is definitely going to be one of those 3-2 matches, perhaps with a tie, so 3-2 and 6. But I do see Florida pulling ahead ever so slightly in this one. Saturday morning at 5 a.m., the Valiant versus the Fusion. Once again, if the Fusion lose this match, I will eat my hat. Guangzhou and Seoul. I am going to pick Seoul to recover against Chengdu, just because Guangzhou is, again, not very good, and Seoul needs that extra win to get some points in the June Joust qualifying. Hopefully for them, try and get into the tournament. And then Chengdu and Hangzhou. Again, I think Hangzhou goes 2-0 just by playing in front of their own fans. Playing in front of their fans is going to be huge for them, and I think that they take both matches this weekend just because of that. Although Chengdu could beat them. Chengdu is good. If either team is going to beat them, it's going to be Chengdu. But I'm going with the home team. I'm going with Hangzhou in front of those fans, man. There is no better inspiration, no better place to find that grit than when an audience of fans is cheering you on. Very much looking forward to seeing that, if you haven't noticed. And then the Western side matches, 3 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're listening to this on the radio, you've already missed all of the matches you've already heard about, and you have 3 more matches to enjoy before Sunday. LA and Paris. I think LA takes this one. Paris is very off and on. They did win earlier today, but I think that the Gladiators can stop them here on Saturday. Dallas and Vancouver. I have no faith in Vancouver whatsoever, so Dallas Fuel takes this one handily. And then the San Francisco Shock and Washington Justice on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. That's a coin flip too, but I think the Shock right now are rolling once again and will take the Justice down. And then Sunday morning, 5 and 6:30, we have the final matches to decide who in the Eastern region will be representing the East in the June Joust tournament. We won't know who's playing and when until Sunday morning. I'm hoping the Fusion are included in that, and I hope the result is different, but we won't know until the final 2 matches are decided Friday and Saturday morning. And then Sunday, same thing. We have the Western qualifiers. There are 4 matches there to get it down to 2 teams that will meet the 2 teams in the East in the actual June Joust tournament next week. I don't really know who to pick here. I mean, I think San Francisco is probably a good choice. Dallas is defending, so I would imagine that they are looking to get back to the end of stage tournament as well. And on the Eastern side, it's a toss-up. I think Philly, if they can win 2 matches and sneak in that 4 spot, might have a chance to try and take from the number 1 overall seed in our side, whoever that may be. But I don't know. I know it won't be the Valiant. I know that much, but we will see on Sunday. Check my Twitter at Big Man Fanelli, and I will retweet at Fox PHL Gambler to see who the final teams are trying to get into the June Joust and give you my predictions as to who will move on. Overwatch League is rolling along, baby. June Joust Week 3, here we come. Fusion, don't let us down. Win these 2 matches, get back on the right foot, and sneak your way into that Final 4. All right, moving on now to our second topic of the episode 51 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to this via podcast or if you're listening to this via the radio, I do appreciate your time and your ears and your attention. I hope you learned something from what we talk about here today. And if you have any interest in it whatsoever, make sure you hit me up at Big Man Fanelli with ideas or questions or corrections or just to tell me that I'm an idiot. If it makes you feel better and it's all in good jest, I'm more than happy to hear myself be called an idiot. Not a problem at all. But before we move on, we actually have enough to do an on tap this week, as there are 3 big time titles coming your way between now and next week that you should have your eye on. So grab a glass and have a taste of what's on tap. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, the rebirth of the fantastic MMO from years past, will finally hit PC and Xbox this week. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, adding the intermission side story with Yuffie, the little ninja, comes out this the 10th. And finally, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, adding Ninja Gaidens 1, Sigma 2, and 3, all in one package, comes to all major consoles on the same day, June 10th. So a big-time MMO, the PS5 version of the fantastic Final Fantasy VII Remake, and a master collection of 3 great Ninja Gaiden games. What's on tap for you? Moving on to topic number 2 of the episode, we are talking about E3 2021 once again. I know I've done a couple episodes on a couple segments on E3 so far, dabbled with it when I talked to Greg Miller of Kind of Funny last week for episode number 50. But this week, E3 has finally announced their full schedule of events, when things are happening. Not every event has times attached to it, but there are basically every event that we need to know about at least has a day on it. A day that we can say, yes, this is when it's happening. This is when we can turn this on. And that is something that I am very, very happy about. We're going to go through that schedule right this second. I would like to give a shout out to Sanaya, her name is, I believe, Sania, excuse me, Sania, I said it wrong. It's right there in her Twitter feed. At Saniyaga, Saniyaga. She is a freelance guides writer and designer for IGN, and she has provided a beautiful E3 checklist for June 2021 that she tweeted out for everybody who wants it to use. I have retweeted it, and I will retweet it again as the event approaches. It has everything you need, and you can check off everything that's happening. It is really, really, really helpful, and that's what we're going to use to go through everything that's going on right here and now. Starting on Thursday, June the 10th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, but we're in Philly, so 2 p.m. Eastern. That is the Jeff Keighley Con Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley comes back for a 2-hour show with apparently 30 different reveals going on in those 2 hours. That's a lot of beef that he is telling us to expect there. And it's supposed to range everything from big budget AAA titles to small time indies. Very, very excited for that one to kick it off. Jeff Keighley shows like this are always good. Even during the pandemic, he put on some really good stuff. Gamescom Opening Night Live was really good last August. The Game Awards was really good in December. And now this Summer Games Fest, he's back, considering this the kickoff of the summer gaming season. And we can expect, so far, he hasn't really teased anything except for an appearance by Jeff Goldblum. So if you ask me, he's already off to a good start. Netflix Geek Week is next. That's Friday, June 11th at 12 p.m. We'll have an entire panel based on video game specific shows and specials coming to Netflix in the coming year. I expect to hear more about The Witcher Season 2. I expect to hear more about the Cuphead show and a couple other things that we might not even know about. And someone I was watching today, I think it was actually Kind of Funny I was watching, someone made a great point that we will probably hear about the Devil May Cry cartoon / anime, whatever it is, from Avi Shankar, I think is his name. We will probably get that at this Geek Week, or at least a preview of it, maybe a trailer with it to come later this year. So definitely something cool there. And then IGN Expo at 4 o'clock Eastern on Friday. We'll have some other reveals as well. Not exactly sure what's going on with them, but I think it's more of what they did last year. That'd be a special with some games and some trailers and some demos and stuff like that. Basically what they would do if E3 existed in real life. Like, it wasn't just an all digital event. And then people could they turn to IGN for just like wall-to-wall coverage of the event. Saturday is a big day. Saturday at 11 a.m., we're talking about the Guerrilla Collective, which is actually the second day of the Guerrilla Collective's All Indie Showcase. The first one is the 8th, which would make it Tuesday, June 8th, was when the Indie Guerrilla Collective Day 1 will kick off. Around the same time, too, 11 a.m., I believe. followed by Wholesome Direct, which is a showcase of indie games that all have a wholesome, non-violent, family-friendly tone. I watch this for ideas of games to play with my daughters, and I suggest you do the same, because last year there were some pretty good ones. Some games that came out all right in that Wholesome Direct. So certainly take a look at that. Then the big one on Saturday, June the 12th, is Ubisoft Forward, Ubisoft's E3 style presentation, where they've already confirmed that they're going to go over Far Cry 6 a little more. They've already confirmed that they're going to show us the world premiere gameplay of the next Rainbow Six game, formerly called Rainbow Six Quarantine, name changed for obvious reasons. And whatever else they have up their sleeve to surprise us. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And then also on that day are events from Gearbox Entertainment and Devolver Digital. We don't know when they're happening just yet. Only the dates have been confirmed. But Gearbox, not sure what's going on there. Maybe that rumored Borderlands side project. Maybe some Borderlands movie information there. And Devolver Digital, always a highlight of this season. Their press conferences, their presentations are always insanely good. Just manic, off-the-wall stuff. Last year, after their presentation on video, they released a walkthrough convention hall called Devolverland Expo, which was like a mini game that they made out of a convention where you could go check out trailers and you fight monsters in the form of, security robots because you're breaking into the convention center. Just a weird thing, but it was awesome. It was really, really cool. So look for that also, whatever they have planned, not only during their video event, but after as well. Moving on now to Sunday, we have the Xbox and Bethesda co-branded game showcase at 1 p.m. Eastern, followed by Square Enix at 3:15. The Future Games Show, the Games Radar team and the Future press over there at 7 o'clock with the PC Gaming Show and a Warner Brothers Games feature, and including Back 4 Blood, I understand, happening somewhere on Sunday as well. Monday sees presentations from Take-Two, Capcom, Mythical Games, Freedom Games, Razer, and more. And then Tuesday, none of those have times, by the way, I should say. None of them have actual set times yet. We're waiting for those times to come through. And then Tuesday, June 15th, the last day of E3 proper, is the Nintendo Direct at 12 p.m. Eastern. Huge. Very much looking forward to that. We have more mini showcases from Bandai Namco, Eureka Games, and a showcase called Play for All from a little website called GameSpot. I highly recommend you check that out. And E3 2021 will end with a official E3 Best of Awards show with awards picked by the E3 judges. I don't know how that's going to go this year. I don't know if it's going to be... It used to be only games that you could play were part of the awards ceremony. I don't know if they're going to change it up at all to see if maybe it could be awards for best trailer or awards for most unique virtual booth or stuff like that. I'm not sure what they're going to do there, but we'll just have to wait and see. And that is the E3 event schedule in a nutshell. Now, next week will be my big prediction show. I know I already did some for Xbox and Nintendo a little while back. I will keep those, but I will also talk about them again with some new stuff. I want to make sure I fully flesh out. I'm going to do probably 10 predictions for E3 2021 just before the show starts. Luckily for me, my show podcast comes out the day before everything begins, so doing predictions on that will be a very good time. But also, if you're interested in checking out everything that E3 2021 has to offer, there will be a online portal for fans to sign up for free. Registration began today, June the 3rd, and you just sign up, and when you get registered and confirmed, you sign in on Saturday, June the 12th, and the portal will provide access to exhibitor booths, so digital virtual booths that you can see on your mobile device or on your PC, which will have special events, video content, articles on the games, they'll basically, according to the press release, act as hubs within the portal for key announcements and game information tied to participating exhibitors, the full list of which is on the E3 2021 website. I'll get to that in a second. And then some like online lounges and forums, and then there's some parts that will like let you play games inside the portal where there'll be leaderboards for that. You can create your own profile, things like that. Just a full online digital experience this year for E3, which is different. Obviously, it's very different, and we'll get into a little bit why I think it shouldn't be the future going forward. But first, let's talk about that full list of E3 exhibitors, who you will be able to see inside the virtual expo when you sign up and get into the portal for the first time. Participating companies with a virtual booth are as follows. You have Take-Two Interactive, which is like 2K and Rockstar and stuff like that. Capcom, Ubisoft, Square Enix, Marvelous Exceed, Bandai Namco, Gearbox Entertainment, Sega, Intellivision, Mythical, and a lot. And then after that is mostly peripheral or indie studios. So Hooded Horse, Freedom Games, Devious Eye Entertainment, Arcade 1-Up, friends of the show, will be there. Verizon will have one. Razer will have one. IGN, GameSpot, Venn, and Polygon will have booths. And then the list goes on from there. Those are the big ones that will have booths this year in this virtual event, and you can go in and check them out and see what kind of games that they're offering to the people. Now, while I understand the need for a virtual booth tour this year, I do hope that despite people saying that it's run its course and it's no longer useful and that E3 should, go away, I am not of that same opinion. I think that there is merit in having a 3-day long, 4-day long, whatever you want to call it, convention strictly for video games. Now, some will say PAX is that. Some will say that there are other, like New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con has video games in it. But, and while I like Penny Arcade, I like what Penny Arcade does, and Gamescom is in Germany, which is a good example too. But I feel like there is room in this industry for the spectacle and the aura that E3 generates. I've said this a couple of times now. I've been to E3, 9 times live. 2010 to 2012, and then every year 2014 to 2019. I believe it is 9 times total. The next one, should they have another live one, will be my 10th, with this being the 9.5 for this year. I have been to conventions big and small. I've been to E3s. I've been to Comic Cons. I've been to all of them. I've been around the block in my 12 years doing this. I have never seen the amount of attention given to the gaming industry from all sorts of sources that I have at E3. Case in point, E3 2012, the banner on Kotaku's website, it said, "It begins," in real big letters. And you can see the GamerNode.com crew, myself, Eddie Anzauto, Mike Murphy, Dan Crabtree, I believe Matt Boyle, my best friend Matt Boyle, is in that picture as well, going into West Hall right when the doors opened for E3 2012. I love that picture, but that's Kotaku. You would expect that sort of coverage from Kotaku. What you would not expect is that I was told that Tuesday night that the continuation of that picture, us coming into the hall for the first time and seeing everything, was on E! News. E! News was paying attention to E3 in 2012. I have had interviews with Chinese-owned networks. CGTN America had me on for a stand-up at E3 2018 or 17, I want to say. A French website spoke to me. An Australian news site spoke to me after an Xbox conference in I think the same year, 2017. That is international attention by mainstream broadcast media. That it's the only time I see it for something that's not a controversy in video games. And I feel like this industry could still benefit from that. People say that the business part of it doesn't really happen anymore. It's not where retailers make their orders for the coming year, and that's fine. If you want to get rid of the business element of it and you just want to make it a fully public convention with media appointments, I'm fine with that. But it still, I think, has a place. Does it need to change? Yes. Are the people in charge the ones to do it? That I don't know, because there are some weird things about this virtual E3 already that are raising a bit of red flags for me. First of all, I signed up for my media registration the day they went live on May 26th, I think it was, over a week ago. I got my registration completion or acceptance today, June the 3rd, Thursday, week and a half. Media week is supposed to start Monday. And until I got this email, I didn't really know what that is. So the length of time that they're giving me to prepare is not ideal. And also, it seems like when it comes to the industry or the exhibitor applications that or people that applied for that, the rules that they stated were basically copied and pasted from their standard E3 rules, which is fine, but you need to take out the language where you require booth employees. There aren't any booths to require employees at. You need to edit these rules so that they make sense in a virtual environment, or else you look like dopes. And that's what was happening. I was seeing that on social media today, that they were not, they basically didn't do their homework. And though that attention to detail is what's going to make E3 sink or swim. I am excited for this coming week. I am excited for the virtual booth. I am excited for all the gaming news that we're going to see and all the videos that we're going to be able to take part in. But I am also very worried. I'm very worried that this is going to be botched somehow. Like maybe the connection issues will be bad, or the servers won't keep up, or something's going to happen that this virtual E3 is not going to go as planned. And all that's going to do is add more fuel to the E3 naysayer fire, saying that it needs to go away, and eventually it will. And then a year after it's gone, 2 years after it's gone, people will realize, oh man, we sure could use that week of attention, that industry week where it's just video games week and everything else just pays attention to us for that week. Every industry has a big convention like that, but I feel like E3 is the one that breaks through the mold because it's video games, because it's this billion-dollar industry that continues to grow, one that has seen its highest growth ever because we were all stuck in the house. So I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for E3 2021 in whatever form it comes in. But I also worry that anything less than a flawless, perfect experience will color people's opinions of the event to the point where it will no longer exist. And I don't know that the people in charge, at least what I've seen so far, are able to pull off that perfect, flawless effort. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Okay, and finally tonight, getting off of the E3 2021 schedule and going to the EVO 2021 schedule. Yes, I am happy to report that the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, EVO 2021, under new ownership by PlayStation and other minority owners, is back and better than ever, if you ask me. Now, the EVO 2021 online is... online. The actual event happens over 2 weekends between August 6th to the 8th and August 13th to the 15th. It will feature 4 games. Street Fighter V, Champion Edition, Tekken 7, Guilty Gear Strive, and Mortal Kombat 11 are the games being played right now. More, I believe, were meant to be added, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen now. and I'll tell you why in just a second. So 2 weekends, the August 6th to the 8th will be the qualifiers, getting down to the top 8s, and then August 13th to the 15th will be those finals to see who wins EVO 2021 online. But what was also announced this week, and what is more exciting for me, to be completely honest, is the EVO Community Series. And this, according to the website, aims to bring together more fighting game fans from around the world than any other event ever. The website says you will join your favorite communities for 120 plus tournaments, over 74,000 in total prizing, exclusive themes and avatars for PlayStation 4, which makes sense, and more than 100 hours of broadcasts of all of the action. Now, this is being broken down into 3 different sections starting June the 10th. The first one on June the 10th is called PlayStation Tournaments FGC Arcade EVO Edition. Description says, represent your local scene on the global stage in this Pro-Am tournament. Fight through the June qualifiers for a chance to face off against some of the biggest names in the community. Viewers can also participate through polls that decide which characters pros will play, and you'll enjoy interviews and roundtable talent featuring notable commentators. This sounds like what Tekken World Tour was doing for a little while, where they would have a big tournament, and whoever came out of the tournament as the winner would have like a final boss, which was a big-time pro from the scene. And if they beat the big-time pro, they got a major prize, and they kept the prize, for winning the tournament. But if they were able to beat the pro, they would win a little bit more in that prize pool. It sounds like that's what they're doing here. Really, really good idea. I love when the players would get to the final boss and be like, oh, no, now I got to beat this guy. This guy's really, really good. So I'm hoping a similar style event will happen here. The 4 games involved in the FGC Arcade are Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which I feel is very underrated, and I'm glad to see that that's included in the schedule at all. Guilty Gear Strive, Mortal Kombat 11, and Tekken 7 will be back again. And that happens from June the 10th, June the 22nd, and you can register at evo.gg right now. The second one is the PlayStation Tournament's EVO 2021 Online Warm-Up. Celebrate EVO 2021 online early in June with a preview of the competition for every main title event. Test your skills and discover how you need to improve before August. And the 4 games included are Street Fighter V Champion Edition, Tekken 7, Guilty Gear Strive, and Mortal Kombat 11, which makes sense. They are the games that will be featured at EVO itself, like the main event. So it makes sense that the online warm-up would be in these same games. And then we have, starting July 8th and going all the way to August 3rd, this is the part I think that excites me the most, the EVO 2021 Online Side Tournaments. This is a festival of regional events in July and August that will bring more recognition to communities that deserve that love. It only takes 1 win to make an impact in the FGC, according to the website, which is very, very cool. There are 8 total games on the docket for these side tournaments, some of which you've seen before. Specifically, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is part of this official online side tournament. It was also part of the FGC Arcade earlier. But the rest of these games are not anywhere else in the series. So the only way you're going to be able to play these games is through the official side tournaments starting on July 8th. You have Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. You have Dragon Ball Fighters. You have Skullgirls Second Encore. You have Soul Calibur 6. Them's Fightin' Herds, which is like a one-on-one 2D fighting game with characters that are, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by My Little Pony. Very strange to say out loud, but an interesting fighting game nonetheless. The aforementioned Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Undernight In Birth, ext.lateclr, I think is what it's called now. Uniclur is what the current Undernight In Birth is, and Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme Versus Maxa Boost On, which is a very, very cool game. If you've never played it before or even seen it, I highly recommend you check that out. That really blew my socks off when I saw it for the first time not too long ago. Really, really dug what I saw there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays in a competitive format in these side tournaments. Now, these are from July 8th to August 3rd. All of these games you can register for now on evo.gg, and the full schedule, which is also on the website, looks like this. So, the FGC Arcade, June 10th will be Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, June 11th, Mortal Kombat 11, June 12th, Tekken 7, June 13th, Guilty Gear Strive, and that is for the eastern part of the country. And then for the West, we have June 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So June 10th to the 13th. So if you're going to E3 or you're paying attention to E3, I would not recommend playing Tekken 7 or Guilty Gear because they're going to run right into each other if you're in the East. And in the West, 17, 18, 19, 20, E3 is very much in the rearview mirror, and you can concentrate on your game of choice. The EVO Edition FGC Arcade Finals are the next week, June 21st for the EU, June 22nd for North America. I see. So East is European, EU, West is North America, and then those finals are the week after, or right after the Guilty Gear Round 2 on June 20th. So June 21st is the EU finals. June 22nd is the North American finals. Next is the EVO 2021 online warm-ups. We start with a global tournament in Street Fighter V on June 26th and 27th. Moving into Guilty Gear on July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Tekken on July 5th and July 7th. The Street Fighter V final is in between them on July the 6th. And then Mortal Kombat starts up July 8th and 9th with the Tekken 7 happening July 10th and 11th. Mortal Kombat happening the 12th, that final, and Tekken 7's final on the 13th. So the schedule is a little weird there. And the reason it gets weird is because while the online warm-ups are happening in the main games, the side tournaments also kick off around that time as well. So July 8th and 9th is Gundam Max Boost On, as I mentioned earlier. And then that also continues on the 14th. 15th and 16th is Skullgirls' second encore, followed by Soul Calibur on the Soul Calibur 6 on July 17th and 18th. Goes back to Skullgirls for the final on July 19th. Then back to Soul Calibur on July 20th for that final. We then get 2 days of Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, 2 days of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and their two finals, July 26th and 27th. 26th for Blaze Blue, 27th for Grand Blue. We then move into Them's Fightin' Herds at Under Night in Birth and Dragon Ball FighterZ. July 24th will be the Them's Fightin' Herds Round 1 and Finals. Under Night in Birth on July 29th and 30th will be Rounds 1 and 2, with Dragon Ball FighterZ kicking off July 31st and the 1st. Under Night in Birth's final on the 2nd. Dragon Ball FighterZ's final on the 3rd. And then the 6th is the official EVO 2021 online weekend. Lots of fighting games to enjoy there. Lots to keep an eye on if you're a fighting game fan. And honestly, after the year that fighting games had, it will be nice to see a major tournament like this again. That's not to say that online competitions weren't happening. They were. There were tournaments. There were people who were trying to keep things going while the FGC basically sat at home. Online play is notoriously bad in this genre, however, and depending on the shoddy delay-based netcode of most of these games, just was not feasible for a lot of them. It's sad. It is, but a lot of fighting games dried up in 2020. The pandemic really hit the genre hard, and that's why you didn't see a lot of competition. You didn't see a lot of online play unless you sought them out, unless you looked for Team Spooky or one of those official Twitch channels for the FGC. There just wasn't a lot of fighting games to be had. The PlayStation tournaments were nice and a good precursor to hopefully what we'll see coming up from the PlayStation-owned EVO, but it wasn't the same. And to have a tournament back to the scale of EVO, building all of these communities like you see here, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see the fighting game community finally getting a super major event of their own, and one that is celebrating so many different games from all across the genre, from your Street Fighters to your anime fighters like Under Night and Dragon Ball to 3D like Tekken 7. I do want to know, though, if I had one gripe about this whole thing, how is it that Guilty Gear Strive gets to enter this selection so soon after its launch. The game launches on July 11th when some of these tournaments have already started. And yet Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is nowhere to be found. I am assuming this is because Sega was, trying to keep it a secret. Fine. But you can tell the organizers of the biggest fighting game tournament in the world that you have this game coming out if you want. And if you want your game to be included in it, I would play. I would play Virtua Fighter 5 if it was an EVO, but it's not. If they want to come in at the last minute and add a side tournament, I'm all about it. Which, unfortunately, is the beauty of regular EVO, the fact that there are side tournaments all over that building. Can't do the same thing when you're online, though, which is sad. But hopefully that'll be alleviated soon. But even with just the people, the FGC fans sitting home and not having competitive fighting games to really absorb all of the awful things that happened leading up to last year's EVO that had to be canceled, between the allegations of abuse and the awful reprehensible behavior of a couple of people in the fighting game community, to see now that there is a light at the end of this dark tunnel and a major tournament that could bring a lot of light onto these games finally coming back. It's wonderful. It's overdue, but obviously you can't control a pandemic or how you're going to react during that pandemic. Everyone wants to stay safe. Everyone wants to stay healthy. So I understand why they did it, but man, has it not hurt to not have a major fighting game tournament to look forward to on my yearly schedule. And hopefully this EVO 2021 will live up to that potential. I am expecting some hiccups. Online play is not anything you could ever truly predict for, especially in the fighting game community. Delay-based netcode is not great, and if you have people playing from, America versus people from Europe or from Japan, it's going to cause a lot of issues. So I'm hoping that they have ways around that. They have ways to mitigate that and to make sure that the impact of those baffling things is lessened as much as it can be. Do I expect it to be perfectly taken care of? No, of course not. There will certainly be some hiccups. But as long as those hiccups are small and few and far between, I think it'll be an excellent, excellent, excellent event. A great return to form for fighting games as the summer winds down, and events like Northeast Championships right here in Philly or CEO in Florida start to open up once again. And by 2022, I think we'll have a regular schedule again. I think Combo Breaker will be back. I think Final Round will be back. I think all these fighting games will be back in their venues, ready to entertain the people. EVO will be back in Vegas for 2022, and it will be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing. I am so looking forward to the day where I can attend fighting game tournaments again. The local scene here in Philly, if you're not familiar, is wonderful. The Big E Gaming, that group over there puts on a damn good show. Every time you go out there, the fighting games are interesting and varied. There's always a section where they have arcade machines set up where you can play against one another. That's always a good time. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the fighting game swing of things, because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like the energy in a room of fighting game fans watching the best in the world play the games. The cheers and the yips and the screams that you'll hear from people playing, people watching these people play. It's just awesome. It's incomparable to anything that I could ever describe to you, and something that I highly recommend that you experience at least once if you have any passing interest in esports whatsoever. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee it. So welcome back, fighting games. Welcome back, EVO. If you're interested in registering, go to evo.gg and do that. Put yourself in there. I believe all the registering is free. You don't have to actually pay for any of these tournaments. I could be wrong about that. Do not hold me to it. But go and register and try your luck against the best fighting game players in the world. But I warn you, they're hungry. They have been sitting at home too. They have had nothing but time to practice and get better. So be ready, because they're coming. And if you're not, up to snuff, they're going to eliminate you fast. But at the same time, if this is your first ever tournament, make your goal one win. If you get one win in the tournament, you did good for your first try. And that's all I'm going to say. So, this has been episode 51 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeart Radio. I am Jason Fanelli, and I am the Esports and Gaming Insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, and I am so appreciative of you if you are listening to these words right now. We are at the end of the show. Talked about some great topics, talked about the Overwatch League matches coming up this week, talked about E3, which is a big-time event, and then talked about EVO, which will be starting up soon. Next week, my friend Will English IV will join me once again to talk about the June Joust finals, to see who the top 4 teams are, just like he did with the May Melee. Excited to have him back. I will also give my 10 biggest E3 predictions just in time for the show to start, so I hope you're looking forward to that as well. And also, we'll be able to recap the Summer Gaming Fest, the Jeff Keighley Con, which will have happened earlier in the day, Thursday. We can recap that as well. But for now, this has been episode 51 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, I will see you on the other side. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.